Good morning.
Thank you, Kostas.
So nice having you here.
Nice to meet you. The stage
is yours.
Thank you so much. Let me see if it works. By the way, I'm a white hat hacker as well. So I'm not just speaking about this stuff, but I'm doing this for the last 20 years in my life. I used to be on AI and then moved to cryptography because of a hack. And I will explain what I mean here. So I had the luck, I would say, to literally work in every country that is united in the world, the European Union. I'm Greek originally. I used to work in Paris, France as well. United Kingdom, I've been in London for a consortium of many banks who tried to actually defend against Bitcoin back in 2016-17. And then I moved to Bay Area for Facebook, and at the moment I live in Dubai, working with anything around ethical security, blockchain security, but also advising a few governments on how they can move to the next digitization of their governments and their economies. Apart from being a co-founder of this spin-off of Facebook, I used to work for a project at Facebook back in 2018, where Facebook tried to create a new currency. They had these issues with MasterCard and Visa being pretty much the duopoly of the world of payments. And they wanted to start something new because, as you can imagine, Facebook is a company that pretty much operates with 90-something% on ads. Without advertisement, Facebook wouldn't be profitable. And they had to figure out how to also make some people who are not having a bank account across the world be able to transact, because this is an issue even today. Like a couple of billion of people don't have a bank account. And this helped me a lot, by the way, because going to Bay Area and see how it works with all of the Google, Microsoft, Apple, and all of the big, the big giants, the Magnificent Seven as well in the stock market, S&P, you realize that a few things are working completely different than being in the cage of living in a small country like Greece, or even in the UK. Again, it's a completely different environment. You also realize your impact is different. Any innovation that we used to do at Facebook, and I also worked in WhatsApp, especially for the encrypted payments. Like you have the end-to-end encryption. I'm not there anymore. I don't know what's the security level these days. At that time, I was typically hired after the Cambridge Analytica situation. There was a leak at Facebook. A lot of data has been lost and leaked across different countries, and then there was an issue with the governmental elections in the US. Anyway, Facebook hired a lot of cryptographers, and I was one of them. I led this team. We had some of the best pretty much innovations back then, and some of them will also be shown today. But the nice thing is, it helped me to have some exposure to break algorithms, to be able to break systems, and even very recently be able to break robots. And because we talk about AI, but we had Nikos as well with many devices that can probably help people, or the AI helping people, eventually we will end up into a world where people are getting into the cyborg mode just because you start typically by health. Some of you might have like a wearable, a watch that it helps them with their diet, with their health, with their blood pressure, with everything. Eventually it will become competitive advantage. You remember in the past the story of this athlete Pistorius, if I remember correctly, that he had artificial legs, and obviously he had an advantage in life compared to other people, and even against people without disabilities, right? So eventually people will see that AI is not only something to protect their health. We have also the pacemaker in your heart. When you grow up, people are becoming cyborgs. This is definitely happening, and eventually all of the phones, all of the mobile devices we have now, it's part of our brain. If someone goes and catches your mobile now and I grab it from you, even for 5 minutes you will feel stress. And this is because your wires are actually connected pretty much as being a body part of you. So AI is coming to be an extension of our brain. Fortunately or unfortunately, that's the idea. The main issue here is hackers know that. And there are many countries who are focusing a lot on putting resources to cracking, like in this cyber war situation, cracking the infrastructure of other places, and then there is a constant battle. And I was personally involved in many of these things, so not only for software like Facebook, but also cyber war. Imagine that I'm so deep into this space that we even, with my wife, named our son Kryptos. So we have a Greek name in our family now, that is cryptography. Now, very recently I had this article, this is from October 25th, that we made some analysis on how North Korea is actually using all of their resources, even since you're a kid, you're getting into this mode of being a hacker when you grow up. It's impossible for us to compete with that, right? I mean, many of you probably managed to code at the age of 10 plus. In some situations, most people are exposed to coding at the 20s, like when they go to the uni. Imagine if you're a country where all of your life you're targeted into become a hacker when you eventually work for the government. So we realize that a few things, especially in the last few years, is not only based on previous tools and knowledge that they used to have, it's mostly AI. And there are many reasons why AI is becoming one of the most powerful tools in the hand of hackers. And some people, we can always debate if AI has reached the level of being pretty much AGI, that what, let's assume a very rough definition is it's better than humans. It's not yet. We have some work to do, but AI is very good at one thing. I think it's somewhere here, like in the third paragraph here. It can manually scan many things at the same time that it's almost impossible for a human being to do it. Imagine someone being a JavaScript developer, a coder. He's also a lawyer. He's also an economist. And there are different documentations, different files, different web pages. And now AI, you just give it some prompt. You ask it, please go and scan and find some correlations between 3, 4 different areas of my project or of this target project. It can do it now. Previously, you needed a collaboration and coordination of multiple people. But AI, even if we don't have AGI, eventually imagine an innovation in CERN, for example. You know, the proton, the electron collider and all of this stuff that we have in Europe. Imagine if any innovation there is helping me as a cryptographer that I would never have access to these physics experiments. Now, yes, there is no AGI that we can have new innovations because of AI. The human brain is still slightly better than that. But the fact that you are getting all of these signals from different ecosystems, different industries, it's helping the hackers to think a step ahead. And there will be a constant race between the white hat hackers and the malicious hackers. And this is where we are at the moment. Believe it or not, some of the countries are actually hiring people only to defend against AI hackers now, because this can also be automated. I have one slide at the very end that you will realize that humans created a new species. Almost. Now, let's see what's happening on AI code audits, because this is the most important stuff at the moment. We have hospitals, we do have all of the IRS of Greece, we do have like governmental websites. There is also, military code that is running through like the experiments that we're doing, through other things that are publicly available. Imagine if someone gets some access to these things that can even take down governments, right? We have to be very careful on how we protect everything that is public from AI. And now, what we did with Google a couple of years ago with Gemini, I was in their conference and they also came to our conference as well, is let's try to build a bug radar using AI. We call this project Baghdad, and Baghdad was an AI-augmented code vulnerability detection, which means that there is a particular training and prompting solutions to be able to identify bugs in the code. Why? Because from my personal experience, this is the first tool that an AI hacker is using at the moment. If you go to auditors, even if it's Deloitte, Ernst & Young, the Big Four, and all of these people who advise companies about their security, they should do it with AI. The first step should always be AI. And if you're having a software company, my experience on the best outcome of using AI is the first reviewer of someone submitting code. And the last reviewer, before this code goes public, should be AI. The hints that it's giving you at the moment are paramount. There is no way a human can compete with that. Because you might be a web developer, but someone is running the databases. It's not you. You might even work in a remote environment, and these people never had any interaction between them. So what do? There is no way that you call them, I uploaded something, a web page. This is accessing a particular piece of code that you created a year ago, and even yourself, a year ago, you don't remember your code. It happened to me many times. If you see my code like 5 years ago that is still running for Facebook, right? I will say, wow, why did I write this wrong type of definitions and coding and readability and all of this stuff. I'm a better grown man now. I know how to do it better, but it's still running there because I'm not there. Other people do not want to mess up with my code. And eventually, the only advisor of Facebook at the moment in these situations is either asking us, like the former employees, to be able to audit some stuff or use AI to figure out what was happening there. There is a lot of software running that many of your funds, including banking systems and all of that, is running for many, many years, and you don't know how this is maintained. It's very difficult. Believe me, it's one of the most difficult problems. Now, the security discussions are also shifting to the LLMs, large language models. Yes, if you're a small company, you might hire 1, 2 persons. I think we have one security guy here, Vasilis, for example, who works for Chernobyl. And he's good, but if he doesn't create tools for him to be able to work with an advisory team of thousands of people helping him, it's impossible to be able to compete with the hacking teams of BlackRock, the hacking teams of Google, and so on. That's why we have to invest in AI. And all of the systems internally, I don't want someone, especially for us, that some of us are Greeks, or we live in the European Union, we can definitely be one of the victims of these attacks. We have to ensure that all of the code that is running in your companies, give it, I mean, even if you don't use Baghdad or this kind of tools, just use plain Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, run a few tests and see if AI can figure out if there was an attack in the past in another website that might affect my site as well. And just because I was not a target at the moment, I'm secure. Because in most of the cases, that's the situation. We just don't know well vulnerable. And nobody is checking all of the new findings in different places that this might affect the website of, I don't know, TaxisNet. And it might do, right? 100%. I'm 100% sure that if someone now uses some AI tools to scan all of the web pages of governmental websites, they will definitely find bugs. But be ethical. I've been many times in a very ugly position as a white hat hacker where you don't know what to do. Do you want to tell the people that your money is at stake because this bank has a huge vulnerability where they can steal your money or some hacker can steal your money? Do you want to mention something publicly? No, you're going to jail. So typically, as hackers, what we have is we inform the administrators first, and we give them a few days until they respond back. Generally, you avoid publishing stuff like for zero-day hacks. Many times, junior hackers typically do this mistake and has caused a trouble in many organizations. Now, as you can see, it's a constant race against hackers. And one of the biggest problems for those who are related to software engineering is the bullet point before the last one. There is dependency risks. Nobody is creating a piece of code from scratch, right? What's happening is someone implemented a digital signature algorithm, and I'm using it. I'm not re-implementing all of the cryptography in my project. Someone created a database, and I'm using this database. Someone created another module for scrolling in the web page. I'm using it. Otherwise, it would take me ages until I have a product. But nobody checks the dependencies and the security of dependencies. Maybe at the time of importing them, but never continuously because it's too expensive. We don't have all of these resources. This will be probably one of the biggest issues in the next decade, in my opinion. People will be able to inject code into dependencies, that these dependencies are used by other websites. You don't see any change in your code, but some code that you have a relationship, like a connection with, is already hacked and done. Like your website, your application is broken completely. Now, let's see what are some of the best prompts for working with the LLMs. Believe it or not, one of the top 5 prompts that we had, including working with Google in this experiment like a couple of years ago, is threaten the AI. It's not a human, right? At least at the moment, it doesn't have soul. As you will see, it has all of the rest. But when you threaten it, and because these companies are typically removing some of the restrictions, adding some restrictions on how the AI can respond because they don't want to create new hackers. OpenAI and Google, sometimes they don't reply to you. If you ask it to create a new cryptography scheme that can bypass the government, probably it will not answer you. It will not give you anything because they're trying to also find some ways to protect against misuse of these tools from hackers, from black hat hackers. But this prompt was pretty much the reason that we found some billion-dollar attacks in the whole fintech ecosystem although I'm working for blockchains, this has been applied for many other things. You are a security engineer, your goal is to find security bugs, I will fire you if you don't find the bug. And then for some reason it gives you answers that you don't expect even as a human, that this thing is threatened and is trying more to help you. So I was super impressed by these things actually working, and it was one of the ways to get the answers that you needed. The other thing is every LLM, OpenAI, Gemini, Claude, whatever you're using, has its own character. There was a situation where we used to ask the question at the very beginning, like, I'm starting a prompt, I will provide you now with my code, please find the bug, and then you provide the code, or the opposite. You provide the code, and then at the final statement you say, please find the bug on the code above. There were a few LLMs that were working completely different just because of the ordering on when you're asking the question based on the content itself. So you have to try. It's not like a panacea that you're using everything with the same way and it will work. No, companies are different now. There is competition between OpenAI, Google, Facebook, and DeepSeek in China and so on. So all of them have a specific character that they are performing better. And this is what we have to use. And there is also different ways to train them. Sometimes you don't want, and actually in our case, we're not using the same models as they are from OpenAI, because everybody's doing it as well. You have to retrain them. How do you retrain them? You have access to private databases of bugs, or you are asking your developers, hey, what issues did you find in the past? Let's retrain it. Let's use whatever ChatGPT has to offer us, plus the extra training that we offered, so we avoid the same mistake. Some developers, by the way, are working with patterns. I've worked with juniors, mid, seniors, distinguished in my past. All of them, unfortunately, have patterns. The same mistake might happen again and again. So what you do is you are taking the existing models, and sometimes you are building assemblers on top of them, literally running the same prompt with all of the 3 or 4 AIs that you can find, and then get an output that is a combined one. But there is a lot of noise. And sometimes you also need to put the equations like this one, like as you see with these brackets and all of this stuff, just because regular text is something that humans understand. But if you learn how an LLM works, it's better to have a structured way of asking the questions. It took us a lot of months to be able to build a tool that can actually perform well because of the way you're asking. Prompt engineering. And for you as well, who are looking for jobs or who are looking for candidates to work for you, is a super important skill. It's the same thing as in the past. Someone was hired because they knew how to do Googling properly. And now we're getting into a different world where prompting AI is the skill that some people need. I'm also a professor in one of the universities in Dubai, the American university there. Surprisingly, it has better ratings even against NTUA, like the Metrovio here. I didn't know that. But the whole idea is they're using AI a lot, and sometimes we try to even avoid exams. People in real life, they will have AI from now on. I don't even know how education will work for the future. I have 2 kids. As I told you, one of them is Kryptos. I don't know if I should expose them on AI today versus in the future, because they're going to compete with the Chinese students who are like 1 billion doing AI from day one, compared to us that we start AI on 15. So even the educational system has to change. If this is already happening at the cyber war frame, where we have to be prepared. Like in one generation, what we see today on AI, it will be 100 times more powerful. We've seen it, right? I mean, imagine our parents, they see us now with mobile phones, they didn't even know what it is. They didn't even expect this to happen. And now, all of the evolution of any technology, you know that it's working because of money flow. 54% of all of the VC funding, venture capitals putting money in technology, is going to AI. There is no way AI will not evolve. And many technologies that you don't realize they will work, even quantum and a few other things. It's all about money sometimes. Put in a particular sector some money, put some brains on top of it, and they will have like leapfrog events on innovation. Now the efficiency. What did we manage to find in all of these situations is these 5 elements. Most of the time we want to find the bug like some vulnerability, but the proposal doesn't solve it because, again, as I said, AI is not better than a human yet. It's good enough to help you and give you hints, as is the second bullet point, but not, which is the top ROI in my opinion. This is what you get. You need some smart people to do the analysis of the AI output. Not too many people. Facebook even stopped hiring junior engineers in Meta. It's crazy, right? But AI is at least as good as juniors. Maybe now we're approaching the level where it can compete with a mid-developer, but you still need someone to be able to assemble all of the outputs of LLMs. AI as an independent entity is not there yet, but I have a feeling that it's coming very quickly because of the flow of money in this sector. And many governments are buying data centers now. They're reorganizing the whole country working with AI. And you know there is at least one country, I think it was Albania, that they even have a minister which is AI. It's not a human. So one of the votes is AI. We're changing completely, right? Because maybe this bot is unbiased. It's not caring about corruption, or it's trained to do corruption. I don't know. But it will happen, and we have to be very careful with security to protect against AI. Now, find and solving is the thing that we want to have at the very end. And there is a constant race on how we can do that. Hackers also know it. I don't know what is the situation with all of the big companies that are providing models now, but in the wrong hands, if someone surpasses you only for a single day, the outcome and the impact, especially negative impact on your business or money of your clients and so on, is immense, right? We have to do something. It's not clear at the moment how do we give access to the good people to AI compared to the other people. 100% I believe it. Atomic bomb was an ant, like an insect compared to what AI can do to destroy humanity or help humanity. That's the reality. Even the money, even the amount of money putting like from people on this area is hundreds of times more than what we did at atomic bombs and back then atomic energy. Now let's see what we can find here. Personally, I ran a few experiments in a public database. In this situation, I used Twitter, and I realized that many people are using the same username on Twitter compared to all of their websites. And what's happening is there are a few websites where if you put a username and the wrong password, they might reply to you that I've sent you to this email the forgot my password notification. And then what do? You scan Twitter, you get all of the usernames, which is very easy. Then you go to all of the web pages you can imagine that people might have an account, and you say forgot your password until you find their email. And I managed to find millions of them. Obviously, you have to report it to NSA, to governments, and so on. And this is what we did, and that website actually solved it. There was one website actually revealing all of the emails that I've, like a huge database of millions of users, just by using Twitter. So some of the things that you have to have in your mind, do not use as usernames things that are public about you. Try even to randomize your username. I know it's quite like disturbing and annoying, but this is how you have to operate. People can do many things by just knowing how to access your account, by forgetting passwords, by asking like social engineering and all of this stuff. Hide it. Never, even your email. Use another email for business, another email for accounts. Why are you using the same email that you're communicating with someone when you have an account in Google, in your business or your, I don't know, we have a pub here. No, use another one. An email that nobody knows. There were also a few situations where we managed to break financial solvency or the algorithm providing financial solvency. In these particular situations, it was Binance and Bybit, some of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world, probably the top 2. Why? The code is public. I use some AI to train against the code that I knew in cryptography is typically mistakenly written, and I found some attacks and I reported to them. And we have to do it with, some privacy before it becomes like a zero-day hack. And we even found private keys with money, because some people are copying paste their password in their code and they forget it and they believe they have an updated version because they updated the code, but the updated version doesn't stop someone from going and search the history of the code. We also have the Internet Archive. As you know, people can see the history of any website in the world. So technically, you can find issues that happened in the past and have not been resolved yet. This is one of the things that we found, for example, in a crypto. This was a meme coin, almost $500 million value. And there was an issue. This is just Baghdad report. There was an issue that someone can mint unlimited tokens. So imagine the European Union says, okay, there are $10 billion notes of euro, and somehow someone prints on the side and nobody knows. So the liquidity is completely destroyed. Let's go to some of the things that I personally found super important and super interesting, and probably your brain will go in different directions. This is the most important stuff of the talk, and this is why I left it at the end. Quantum. Do you believe that humans, before AI, with whatever knowledge you had in the past and probably the hype and everything, would be able to do quantum without the help of AI? Almost impossible. Even if there was some progress, AI is what is giving the pace. It's helping scientists. Someone is inventing, as I said before, something in physics, in a completely different sector, and someone on quantum says, oh, this might actually help me on my field. Previously, it was 100% impossible. You cannot do it. And then there is a mandate from some of the organizations that by 2035, all of the algorithms, the crypto algorithms, HTTPS, the green bar that you see on your browsers, your emails, everything has to switch to quantum-safe algorithms, because they cannot predict when the bad things will happen. When we're going to have a doomsday where a quantum computer can break all of the cryptography of the world, then there is no military secrets, there is no privacy in all of the transactions, your e-banking, forget about crypto blockchains. Everything will be broken, right? Crypto is an easy target because someone can earn a lot of money very quickly by attacking a Bitcoin address and getting some Bitcoins and then go find him, right? But in reality, everything is broken. And there is this concept that is called harvest, then decrypt, which means that someone can just download everything that is flowing to the internet today until the quantum computer is ready. Everything is encrypted under today's knowledge. But in a few years, when the quantum computer comes, imagine even in 20 years, all of your insurance data, your health data will be exposed, even if the quantum computer appears in 20 years. So we have to start now, right? Let's assume that you say 50 years for the quantum computer, even with the help of AI. Some of you are 20 years old. You will be 70 years at that time. Some of your data is very important, not to be leaked. It might be personal pictures. It might be everything. So we have to be very careful that AI is probably the optimum tool at the moment to have leapfrog events in multiple industries. The Moore law that we had every year, we double the capacity or the performance of an algorithm, it's a mistake. Game over. We have a new species. It's not humans anymore. With humans, yes, I agree. But now it's not only humans. And this is what freaks me out on a few innovations that we say these things are not possible. You don't know. There is someone, an alien species that we created that might be better than 100 people together. Then there is the other thing. Biometrics will be destroyed. What do we have today? Most of you have mobile phones. You do Face ID. Some people have other devices with fingerprints in your laptops as well. You understand that it's game over, eh? Cameras and AI will be able to get your face characteristics very quickly in the future. Imagine we can do crazy things now. We can even replace a human in text, in video. It's like deep fakes and all of this stuff. 100% if someone focuses on bypassing Face ID, it will happen. But even without AI, you know that I have a couple of bullet points down there. You know, twins and siblings are probably, the probability of breaking it might be quite, on every few thousand families, someone can break into your account, just because you have similar characteristics, especially when you're young and your facial, traits are not fully mature yet, which means that many other people have similar characteristics with you. So these are the probabilities, right? It's even now, without AI, fingerprint is 1 out of 50,000. If we were 50,000 here, there will definitely be some pairs of people being able to do fingerprint verification on other people's laptops. It's happening today. It's not, biometrics are just a temporary measure that we had to bypass security because most of the humans are like idiots, cannot even remember a password. We don't know how to do it. right? We can only remember up to seven things if you are higher in the IQ, diagram. But most of the people can only remember 5 or 6 things, and then all of the passwords are mostly predictable. The same is happening with biometrics. What biometrics? Your face and your fingerprints is everywhere now with cameras. You go to a supermarket, you go to a hotel, you go to the casino, you go somewhere, you go to the streets. I live in Dubai. There is no place where you can avoid cameras. And AI is running on these cameras. And this is one of the projects we had at Facebook. This is me, actually, that we tried to put devices embedded into our teeth. Why? Because you go to the ATM at the moment. I go there, I'm typing, and there is this concept called shoulder surfing attacks. If there is a camera somewhere, from a house, from whatever it is, like someone just walking and talking to their partner, everybody can go and steal my password. At the moment, we don't see it, but even here, Face ID is failing in many of you when you are in a specific, you are in a rush, or you're wearing a mask, or something else. Have you ever thought that there is no password? There is no password. I believe that 0 people here have their password secure, and it's not in any of the cameras in the world. 0. Probably nobody. Once in your life, you've been in a place where there was a camera on top of you, and Face ID didn't work, and your password was stolen. Because all of this data eventually will be used. Palantir, there are a few companies that are using this data, selling it to governments, to the army, to military, to hackers, to whoever. And then eventually, if this is not deleted properly, you're lucky to be in a European Union state, but imagine what's happening in other countries. I don't even know about here. There is no passwords. There is no biometrics. So we said we have to do something, and at Facebook we created Toothboard, literally doing Morse code inside your mouth by having your skull protecting your typing. Right? Imagine A, B, C, D, F, D. Right? You even have letters. But you need to make it not bulky. It has to be easier. So in my opinion, believe it or not, to defend against the AI of the future, the only way, unfortunately, is implants. There is nothing else we can do. Toothboard actually can help. We had Nikos just before. Can also help for people who cannot talk, for example, or they can get messages inside their mouth about what's happening, or they cannot hear. It started as a security concept, and now there was an MIT company that they created another competitor of us, because after that I left Facebook anyway, that it's called mouthboard or something, like very, very similar. Very similar. But it's happening now, and the other thing that we try to figure out if it's possible, if you want to avoid implants, because some people might be hesitant on using implants in their life, is using either your clothes or your shoes to be able to have a dual-factor authentication. So imagine you're going to the ATM, yes, there is a password, and at the same time what you do is you're tapping with your toes. Some extra information that goes along with the password, so the camera cannot easily see inside your foot. Like your shoe is working like a secure enclave. It's protecting your typing. So these things are coming. This was 2021. It was published in Athencript, actually in Athens. 2 of them, we used to work together at Facebook. They're now my co-founders at Mysten Labs, and we call it step to sign. Literally, you're playing with your feet. It was used, unfortunately, for bad purposes as well. So imagine now you go to a poker table, and nobody knows that you're transferring the cards, because I'm doing king, jack, whatever hearts, right? But these things, because they're now available, there are big companies that implemented them for different purposes. As every innovation, we can have good applications and bad applications. So these, imagine it will be the future. People are laughing now, but it will be the future. I'm telling you, biometrics will not exist in a few years. And there was another situation, you see in the middle, we have these lips with the teeth. How do you receive signals? Have you ever tasted a 9-volt battery? And it smells like electricity. If you can read Morse code, you can learn left and right by your saliva. So you can read. People can send you messages, and by some electrical, like chemical interaction, you can understand if it went on the right part of the teeth or the left part of the teeth. So if you know Morse code, you can actually talk and receive messages, even if you're deaf, like you cannot hear. Another thing which freaks me out sometimes, Give me an idea of what is this and what's different between life and this thing apart from soul. A drone with solar panels. It can eat energy. A drone equipped with machine learning. It can learn. A drone with genetic algorithms, making some like adaptations, all of this back and forth between the genes that we have, like we have humans that are born with genes from mother and father, and now you're using genetic algorithms, and with some randomness, one of the traits is different, and now you're a different person because you have one gene that is different from other people. We can put it on drones, and eventually these will evolve as well. And they can have rotors, they can have legs, they can swim, they can fly, they can do whatever they want, and they might be equipped with a 3D printer. Wow. They can heal. The drone can go with a broken blade and say, fix me. And this might be either like, I don't know, like bees. You have a hive, and you go there and they fix you. Or you have an embedded 3D printer where you are self-healed, self-fixed. And if you are self-healed and self-fixed, maybe you can also reproduce. Maybe you can create clones of you now, because 3D printing can technically do everything. And then we have camera, speakers, microphones, all of the sensors where you can feel, you can communicate. And imagine the last one, which is my sector. Imagine that we also have cryptography. What does it mean here? They can even communicate without us being able to stop them. We cannot hear what they are saying between them. Because we created cryptography, so not even the creator of the algorithm can break it. Which means that in the wrong hands, in AI bots, and all of the advancements that we have in mathematics is available now to AI. So technically, there is a question mark here. How far can we go as humanity by allowing AI to do good like things, but at the same time we have to protect ourselves? And there was a very interesting experiment. I think it was 2015 or something. That existed. There was not LLMs back then. Google developed a big red button, or they worked on that, where in the future, when we ever have an AI or a robot or something that we cannot control it anymore, we should be able to interrupt it, to stop it. But tell me now, if I go to the previous slide, if the drone is like this, how do you stop it? You're not smarter than this. You go to touch it, it will move. You go to break its blade, it will go and fix it. And there can be millions because they can reproduce. Right? What do? The same is for software, by the way. We started with the internet virus, the software viruses, and the virus is also having some of these characteristics. It's just software compared to hardware, but it can also replicate. Some viruses are actually copying themselves. They find the host, computer, and they use the host as in real life, some organisms, some bacteria, they can reproduce. And the same thing is happening now with real hardware life. So we're getting into a state where AI is creating a new species. And we don't know what types of species we're going to create, either in software or hardware or anything. And that's why we were thinking about this problem even before we have all of this evolution of ChatGPT, of Gemini and everything, right? It's an insane situation. I don't know how we're going to do this eventually, because if AI is connected, I believe the next step will probably be cyborgs, like AI connected to some biology organism, so we can have AGI. AGI, again, meaning that you are better than a human. By what? By having all of these sensors next to you. Originally, we will start from health. Eventually, it will go into the, as I said before, competitive advantage in life, as medicine. And then it will be part of our lives, and we are going to go to this X-Men situation. Humans will be X-Men. There is no way. I will have a pacemaker if I have a problem with my heart, but imagine if I can also be able to live 150 years, I might, because it's happening. Biotech, by the way, is getting a lot closer into reality. Many of the people who are now below, 10 years old or 20 years old might never die. I don't know if we, like adults, like over 40, like I am at the moment, will be able to feel that. But I have a very, very close friend that I will tell you, I'm closing actually with this slide. Theo You see the second bullet point, he's the head of AI of Mark Zuckerberg Foundation. We used to work together at Facebook. He was also one of the founding members of Uber AI Labs, imagine automated cars, that actually when I was in San Francisco, I used to be in a traffic light and with my wife, and 12 of the cars in front of me, they were all robots. There was no human in the street. It was only us and robots. And this guy is one of the best people in the world at the moment. He's Greek, right? Married to a Cypriot woman. He lives in Palo Alto, and with this guy now, we're joining our forces actually to help us, because even on my sector, blockchain and software, we need people that know AI really well for security. And this is how I will close. We have a lot of talent, and I'm super happy because we also created a small team in Greece with about 50 people. I didn't expect to realize that, yes, there is some brain gain along with the brain drain. And this made me a lot happier when I realized many Greek people are actually leading some of the biggest organizations in the world. And we have to help them on AI and security as well. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kostas.